Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Just here, my name is Matt. Hello, what's up? Okay, so, last time on Buffy, death, basically. The main theme and thing of the episode was essentially there in the title. It was passion, but it was an episode where we finally had a major character death. It's not the most major character death. Like, it's not like a super main character death. It is a character that we have spent some episodes with, and some episodes we forget she exists. But Miss Calendar Jenny, she is dead, and I said this before, she could have come back in some weird fantasy way, but let's just say that she's dead. That's it. Like, because for all intents and purposes, she's just dead, and we all feel the aftermath of it. What I do want to say is that how is Giles not in jail? Like, someone pointed that out in a comment, and I was like, yeah, I thought about that, but then I got distracted by the sadness of someone going away. But yeah, how the fuck is he not in jail? How is he out? Like, don't tell me, don't try to explain it, just let it happen. It's just something silly that I enjoy. Another thing that happened that I didn't mention at all during the discussion, but I kind of want to mention here a little bit, is that Joyce had the talk with Buffy, because she found out about the thing with Angel happening like that one time, and that was a source of drama. And the reason why I didn't mention it at all is because, well, first of all, I don't know what I could say about it. It's just very interesting, and it's impactful, and I like seeing them like bonding and closer a little bit, because this is like, it's not secrecy, it is a vulnerable thing that they both share, and they talked about it at least. But also I didn't mention it at all because Jenny died, so my entire discussion in that episode was just talking about Jenny. I just wanted to bring that up for a second. Besides that, I don't know what else I can say about previous week. Just, it happened. And I'm curious to see how the show is going to continue moving forward now, because I don't know how it would feel if we had a major character death episode, which is very dramatic because like Angel is the one that did it, and then this episode would become like a filler villain of the week kind of episode. You know, we deal with like a ghost or some shit. Like, no, let's actually keep this up. Let's keep this energy up. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna develop. We're getting close to the end of the show, by the way. Not the show, the season, what am I saying? This is episode 18. I think there's 22, right? Yeah, it'll be like 5 episodes left. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, I should stop wasting time. I don't have that much time this morning, so let's just start. So, Patreon. Check out the Patreon. Check out the link in the description below. It'll pop up on the screen. You can watch the next 2 episode reactions already, or full-on reactions if you're into that, and it would just help out a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let us begin. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 2, Episode 18. Let's go.
Half the school's out with this flu. It's a serious deal, Buffy.
Okay.
We're all concerned about how gross you look.
One night of rest is not going to kill you.
No, but it might kill somebody else.
Yes, this is what's happening.
And as long as I am, Angel's not going to kill anybody else.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
come
is taking
on.
its toll. Oh boy!
Just one more.
Yo, anyone? Okay. Plus.
Take a walk over, Bite. We'll have to do this again sometime.
I told you guys to leave.
He's gonna pass out. Yeah.
Buffy!
So that's what's happening. This makes sense, because it would make sense for Buffy to be super stricken by the loss in the previous episode. So now she's trying really hard to make sure that no one else dies.
The flu fainted and fell. She's sick. Make it better.
It's gonna be okay. Let's get her up. Patient's unconscious.
What do we have?
High-grade fever, possible fractures.
Possible fractures? How can you tell that? Fractures means a bone fracture, right? He didn't check anything. He was just looking into her eyes. They didn't say anything. They just said, yeah, she just fainted. I guess she fell so hard she broke something, but how could he tell that? Sorry, I'm still hung up on that. Hi, Giles. The real parental figure. This is like a serious like injury episode. This is interesting. We never really do this. Like, we need to take care of her where she's in this state, otherwise someone can just come in. Well, the thing about Angel is that he doesn't want to kill her, he wants to torture her, so...
She just hates hospitals. Since she was a little girl.
What happened?
Oh?
When she was 8, her cousin Celia died in a hospital. Yeah, they were very close.
Who is this cousin? My immediate first thought was Celia was the Vampire Slayer, and he transferred to her, or some shit like that.
I wanted to say how sorry I am about that teacher, Miss Calendar. Buffy said you were close.
Yep.
Buffy's been so down since it happened. I've and she never gets sick.
Yeah, this is something I was thinking. Like, Buffy, when she got hit by Ted that one time, she was like, I don't bruise easily. So she's actually very resilient. They just need to, like, cover her bed in like, crosses. Okay, hi. Okay? Is she delirious? Or is that just some Freddy Krueger motherfucker just walking around? Just a random generic monster man? My bet right now is that she's delirious. Why is there a janitor there? Why would the janitor not see anything? This is unreal. Oh, is she having flashbacks to when she was little? Oh, okay. Did her cousin die to some supernatural attack or something? Some monster man? They're not gonna tell me. They're not gonna reveal things so quickly. It would be really interesting if this entire episode took place in her head or something like that.
Raising their temperature is potential. Dr. Wilkinson, if you have a problem with my methods, just take it up with him. I have.
Are we stumbling into a hospital conspiracy, maybe?
He comes at night. The grown-ups don't see him. Death.
Is it actually like a Freddy Krueger situation? Except it only follows kids and also only in hospitals?
Visiting hours are over. Well, I'm pretty much family.
You have a cross with you?
But I'm kind of curious to find out. You game?
Are you challenging him to a duel?
Buffy's white knight. You still love her. It must just eat you up that I got there first.
Trying to provoke him.
You're gonna die, and I'm gonna be there.
Very interesting that we have these scenes where they just interact with each other.
Power Girl to the rescue! Thank you, Power Girl. You're safe now.
What did she walk into? Oh, someone suffocating her? I'm trying to piece things together. See where we're going. Homework.
Homework. It's my way of saying get well soon.
You know, chocolate says that even better.
I did all your assignments. All you have to do is sign your name.
I was out of the loop on gifts.
It's traditional among people.
You know, a girl died here last night.
How?
Well, the flu.
Is the flu the monster or some shit?
I'm not sure what he's up to, but he's a little creepy.
Are they not gonna believe her?
Death.
Death?
The death? As in, it is your time?
Buffy, a frightened child.
Yeah, but I thought I saw something.
But you do know that you saw death.
I know, I saw some dude in a mask.
So this isn't about you being afraid of hospitals because your friend died and you want to conjure up a monster that you can fight so you can save everybody and not feel so helpless? Tact is just not saying true stuff. I'll pass.
I love Cordelia, I really do. But is she gonna encounter?
What are you doing here?
History of the hospital, bizarre incidents. That
Well,
sort of
they're investigating, so
I'm sensing a little less than full committal here.
don't fully believe her.
Cordelia may be homedically insensitive, but she may also be right. It's only natural for her to try to create a defeatable opponent.
That's true. But we live on the Hellmouth side.
She
These
has to-
kids may have seen a monster.
She has the biggest point.
Most people think that security guards are just guys that failed the police exam.
Is she charming
that's
her
not
way
me.
out of this one?
This is my career.
No, I think that security guards are way sexier than firemen.
This is a high schooler, by the way? What is the age difference here?
I'm all the time restraining people.
It's not something to be proud of, man.
You see a lot of tragedy. You know, like that little girl?
Oh.
Who's that?
You know, I didn't hear anything. You know, you have the most perfect nose I've ever seen. You must work out.
We know we are very fortunate that everyone who plays a 16-year-old in the show does not look like a 16-year-old. Otherwise, that scene would have been really weird to watch.
I'm gonna stay here.
Oh, right. Your obsession with protecting Buffy. Have
Someone
I told you
has
how attractive
to.
That's not. I've seen you watch her back.
What is that supposed to mean?
Watch my back.
Hell yeah. Okay. Man, what the fuck was that?
Grown-ups don't believe you, right? Well, I do. We both know that there are real monsters. Can't fight death.
Sure. I generally am curious as to whether or not this thing is even real.
Reprimands for controversial experiments,
Okay.
risky procedures, a malpractice suit.
I just wish I knew what he was doing to these children.
Some experimental drug, but Which kind of stroke? What did Sander get? Okay. This entire episode, I'm just like wondering what the fuck, where are we going? Yes, that was the answer all along. Hey, Krispy Kreme. I wonder if they paid in order to get their ad in this episode. Okay. Just right there. Oh boy. So here's the thing about this is that we don't know enough. He could actually be the good guy. This doctor might not actually be trying to do anything bad. He might actually generally be trying to help or some shit. Like, he knows who's gonna die next, and he's trying to fight it or something. And death is just death. That's my prediction. Oh boy. The creature with the fucked up face. Oh. Yeah, that's just an invisible creature. Who is it? Is it the dude we saw? But how do we see him if he's invisible? Maybe because she was remembering to when she was 8 years old, she was in the mindset of a child, and that's what allowed her to see it for a second.
But her records show her improving and then suddenly deteriorating without any apparent cause.
He was clean.
What do you mean clean?
What do you mean was?
He's
Yep.
dead. This thing killed him, and not with kindness. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why would I see it then and not last night?
Good morning.
Oh, hi. Hi, Joyce.
Ooh, looks like I interrupted a secret meeting.
You sure didn't.
Good one, Chrissy.
Charles, see if you can get a mugshot on that guy. I need to know what I'm fighting. I'll check Backer's office, see if I can find any post-its marked "Why a Monster."
I feel like that doctor was trying to come up with some drug that would just stop death. And then that's why the symptoms were improving for that girl. And then Death was like, fucking no, you can't stop it. It's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah,
I completely
right.
didn't
Go.
pay attention to whatever the fuck they were talking about.
With a controlled dosage of the same virus they already had.
A vaccine.
Would that work?
According to this, it was starting to. So he really was trying to help the kids.
Mm-hmm. That's where she got better.
What does this do?
What?
What does this do?
Extracts vital organs to replenish its own mutating cells.
Wow. What does this one do?
Elongates its mouth to engulf its victim's head with its incisors.
Ouch. Wait, what does this one do?
Testing his patience.
Well, it's not in here.
The cover?
The name means child death.
Okay.
This book says that he feeds off of children by sucking the life out of them. It looks like they died because they were sick.
So it did kill Tina.
Okay. Child death. Is there an adult death?
Ow. You should see this thing. The way it does this thing, I mean...
Just give the phone to Giles.
The Kinderstod gorges by sitting atop of his prey, pinning it down helplessly, then he slowly draws out the life. Horrifying for the victim.
Right. That's what she saw.
I don't know what to do, Celia.
Okay. This is connected to your path.
It killed Celia.
Your cousin?
We have to get this thing, Willow, before it gets any more kids. I can't even see it.
You saw it one
You saw it
time.
once.
How did that happen? Let's think about it.
I mean, I was crazed with that fever. Who knows?
The only people that can see it is the people with the fever. Inject yourself with it.
Buffy, that's 100% pure. It'll kill you in an instant.
Oh.
Thank you, Willow, for being the nerd of the group. I don't know if this is how it works. I don't know jack shit about chemistry or biology or anything. He's fucked up immediately.
The kids.
Okay.
They're gone.
Oh, they're just straight up running away.
I think it's in there.
Oh, she can sort of see it. This is the most like 80s slasher movie monster ever. Just pretend that you can't see it. Don't look at him. Oh, you can probably tell. You know what? I like this guy. I like his swag. I like his style.
Frogs! Frogs! Get them off of me! Oh my god! Frogs! Get them off of me, please! Oh, get them off!
Sure. I guess that distraction works.
Or the other one!
No more frogs.
That's a good distraction. How do I explain this to the hospital people? Did we tell Sander the plan?
Okay, did Angel?
No. We need to get to the basement.
I like how this all came together. It was a fun mystery. I mean, death is not instant, so we have a little bit of time. Yeet that kid! Fuck that kid! Oh boy, yeah, that's nightmare fuel. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Make me sick.
That's really fucked up. I don't like that.
Come on, come on.
It's time to get the kids out. You're gonna be okay, kid. You're gonna be a little bit traumatized, maybe for the rest of your life, but you're gonna be okay, kid. I mean, he can't see. But you can give her a weapon or something. Or you're gonna do the same thing to her. Well, Sander can help now because we know exactly where you are. They're getting the money for one of just one shot. Oh, just broke his neck. Cool. Done. Easy. GG. Good job, everybody. Decapitate him just in case. Double tap. Triple tap. Alright. That hospital is just gonna have a dead, invisible body there.
I wanted crunchy peanut butter.
Oh, sorry.
Is
And
everyone
I said
here?
extra jelly.
Is everyone sick, but they are not allowed in the hospital anymore?
Oh.
Of course, here we go.
And another bag of cheesy chips.
Of course, man. Smiling through the pain.
It's from Ryan.
Oh!
From the hospital? Oh, he drew you a picture. How nice.
That's a fun ending. That is a fun ending. I like that one. Alrighty then. Hello. Sorry, it's been a little bit. I went to get some food and stuff. But, okay, so in this episode of Buffy, it was interesting because I said at the beginning that I was wondering if we could have, like, where were we gonna go? Like, is it gonna be another, like, really important episode, or are we gonna go back to Villain of the Week kind of thing? Because it would be weird to do that after we just had such a, like, big episode. But that's exactly what we did. However, I didn't feel too weirded out by it because they managed to successfully tie it back in, because the entire, like, first third of the episode was about, like, hey, we just had a really difficult episode last week and everyone is thinking that Buffy is, like, affected by it, which she is, because at the very beginning of the episode she's like, no, I have to go on patrol, I have to stop Angel in case Angel kills someone else, because I'm not gonna let him do that again. Like, she's affected by it and she is kind of coping in the only way she can, which is, I'm gonna fucking fight and I'm gonna prevent any deaths from happening because that's fucked up, to the point that she's being almost self-destructive. Like, not really, but she should be resting and she's not. So she has been ill, and there is a fight right at the very beginning of the episode, which is interesting because I thought that it might not even be real, but it was. It was just a fight that didn't really go anywhere. It just ended with Buffy in the hospital, which is... There was a doctor that said possible fractures. First of all, I'm wondering where did the fractures came from, whatever. Angel punched at her or something. But also I'm wondering, like, where did the doctor, like, how could the doctor tell that she had fractures? So they arrive at the hospital. The doctor asks what happened. They go like, oh, she's ill or whatever. She collapsed. When she's unconscious, people start unequal and unresponsive. He just checked her eyes. They ask if she's gonna be okay. He's like, give us some time. The other doctor says, what do we have? And he says, high-grade fever, possible fractures. Where did he get fractures from? Okay, unless fractures is a medical term that doesn't mean like bone fractures. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm not gonna harp on that point too much because it literally doesn't matter, but I'm wondering because the doctor didn't even check her body. He was just looking at her eyes and then he said like, yep, possible fractures. Anyway, moving on from that, doesn't matter. The point is that she is stuck in the hospital. She has high fever. And we had an entire like sequence that made me wonder whether or not it was real again. Because again, it was a fever sequence and she saw weird shit and she kept remembering her childhood. And I was like, this is all very weird. But I would say that probably the thing that like I like a lot about this episode is the thing that they threw in there about Buffy's cousin. I forgot her name. Was it Icelia or something like that? Completely forgot. But Buffy's cousin, when she was 8 years old, she witnessed her cousin dying in a hospital, and then Buffy was like, oh shit, and then since then she doesn't like going to hospitals anymore. That's fine. My immediate thought to that was that her cousin was the previous Slayer and she died right next to her, so it passed to her or something like that. Like, I was wondering like exactly how that happened. It doesn't matter. I don't think that's the case, and if it is, then the movie will tell me whenever I watch it, but it doesn't matter. I like that was introduced here. It was a little bit like introduced and immediately like relevant, which feels like just a one-time thing. But it would be interesting for that to carry forward, right? Like her cousin gets mentioned again or something like that, or her fear of hospitals is mentioned again, and they talk about the cousin again. Like that would be nice. But in this episode we introduce a monster who is invisible to everyone unless they have a very specific virus. But to me, that feels like the virus is actually like something that summons the monster or something like that, or like something that marks targets for the monster to appear. I guess, like, am I wrong? Because, okay, so they did say that this monster in particular is known as child death, which makes me think, is there an adult death? Is there a teenager death? Is there multiple levels of death that we can go up at tiers, you know? Like, we just kill child death, okay? Where's baby death? I would assume that baby death is the strongest because that's like the most fucked up one. So you get child death, you get adult death, you get baby death, right? That would be crazy. But what about death? What about the death that kills death? That's the strongest one. Where's the power escalation then? Okay, I'm silly. So child death, it targets child and kills them and feeds off them. I gotta say that the way he does it is kind of fucked up. I get why Cordelia was like, oh my god, that's fucked up, because it kind of was. They made a big deal out of it and then they showed it. It was like, it feels like someone when writing the episode had the idea and they were like, yo, this is fucked up, and then he told everyone and they were like, hey, yo, that's fucked up, let's do it. That will be shocking. People will remember that. It will hit them. And it did, actually. The way they filmed it too, it's like they filmed it right from the front and then the eyes just start bulging out and then they open and then like they turn into like alien suckers or something that just go into you and start sucking on you, your forehead or something like that. That's messed up, man. That's fucked up. But they did it twice and I think it was the same shot both times. You know, they did it one time and maybe it was difficult to do, so they just reused it, I guess. Maybe it was two separate times, but the shot was exactly the same because that's the only effective shot you can get. The point is, we got an invisible child killer who looks like, it looks like an 80s horror slasher movie thing. Like, it looked like Freddy Krueger. When I saw the dude, I was like, who's this Freddy Krueger motherfucker? And I have to say, I like him because he was wearing this coat and he was wearing a hat, and then whenever he saw Buffy, he tipped his hat to her and then just went off to child murder. And I just gotta say, I respect it. I respect his swag, his priorities. He seems like a cool dude. I like this monster. I wish he didn't just immediately get defeated, and that was the end of that. I have to say, well, I was watching the episode, I had this idea that it would be a more thematic episode, which is something that the show directly said. And then I was like, okay, I guess we're not doing that. Because Cordelia said something like, maybe you're trying to create a physical version of something you can fight as a way to cope with your trauma of the people that you can't save because death is inevitable, or something like that. I don't know what the fuck she said, but it was something like very like, the writer is writing this, you know? It's something like, okay, like a character in universe wouldn't say this. It's just a writer saying it through their character. And in some ways I appreciate that because it at least like informs me that the show is aware of what's happening, you know. At least the writers are aware of what's happening here, because sometimes it feels like there is like a little bit of a disjoint between writers, but at least the fact that they're addressing it makes me think that like, okay, we're on the same page. Like, I'm following, and whatever I'm thinking is something they are thinking too. So it's like, okay, that we're not completely lost here. So this is going to be taken into account whenever we figure out what this story is going to be. But it did like my version that I came up with as I was watching it, because I was thinking that like the doctor dude, which immediately they thought that he was suspicious, and I was like, I mean, we don't know that, we haven't seen him or anything. And when we started seeing him, he didn't look like evil or anything, like cartoonishly evil. So I was thinking like, okay, what is the deal here? And he was administering some kind of drugs for some kids, and then he got attacked and killed by this monster. But I honestly would have really liked, this is what I was thinking in my head. This is the plot that I was building up in my head. Imagine the doctor has some kind of supernatural power that he is able to tell who's gonna die. Like that's an interesting power. It's like that dude at the end of Golden Gwen. It's like I can see who's gonna die next, who's gonna die soon. And then he became a doctor because he was like, I want to help people who I know are gonna die or something. And his entire career has been him trying to like fight against the concept of death. And here's when I was approaching this story from the thematic perspective that the characters addressed, but it wasn't, because it ended up being a monster. But I like the idea of like, you can't fight death. Death is just a concept that's gonna come anyway. And I like the idea of like, maybe the doctor was trying to develop drugs or something in order to try and save kids that he can tell are gonna die soon. He's testing on these kids. He's trying to experiment on them. He's trying to do everything he can in order to prevent the deaths that he knows are going to come soon. And then the twist at the end would be the fact that like death is gonna come no matter what. Like if you know it's happening, if you can try to like come up with some weird way to prevent it, because he did develop the drug that did make the girl better, but then the girl died anyway. Like it would be kind of like a Final Destination kind of thing, right? Where death is gonna show up anyway, and no matter what the fuck you do, it's gonna happen. But then he got attacked and died by 80s slasher movie monster, and that's what the episode went into, which is significantly less cool than what I was thinking. But in the context of Buffy as a show, which it's funny because this is what they were talking about. In the context of an episode of the week Buffy show, it's like, yep, we get a villain and we can take care of him, and then we just move on with our lives. And that's that episode. And I get that this is, people have told me this in the comments, and like I know, but it's like, I get that Buffy has this thing of like, this is a show in the 90s and it's a Western, and it was very common for shows to just be like episode to episode, like weekly. You get a beginning, development, and resolution, and that's just it. And then we just move on to the next one where we do the exact same thing again. But I would like for the show to turn more serialized, where death is something that just gets introduced as a concept. It's something that is universal. It's something that we learn that we cannot stop. And the end of the episode is just like, that's that. Like we just see this and we feel like shit and we learn about it, and then we just carry that forward with us. And it's not something where we get a resolution for the episode. You know, we find the bad guy and we defeat the bad guy and we save the children. And it's just like, that's fun and all. I would have kind of really prefer if, the doctor was trying to help people and we thought the doctor was evil, but then we learn about his powers, but then the doctor just dies anyway. And we learn about his powers, but like it's, at the end of the day, it's completely useless because you can't stop it. But it instead got relegated to a single joke that Cordelia made about like Buffy coming up with this plot, and then the show being like, no, we're not doing that. Instead, we're doing the Monster of the Week shit. And I'm like, okay, sure. We can do that too. As far as monsters come, it was a cool one. Again, it was just Freddy Krueger he had a cool hat and he had a fun personality and it was invisible, and the way it killed you was fucked up. The way it kind of ties into something more important is the fact that we learned that he's the one that killed Buffy's cousin when she was 8 years old, which is like, oh my god, suddenly this became personal. You know, it became personal to Buffy. However, despite that, it didn't seem like she was too thrilled to kill that or anything. Like, she was like, well, I gotta do it. But I never felt a personal, like, you kill my cousin, I'm gonna get you kind of thing. You know, it didn't feel like a revenge kind of thing. And I feel the episode would have literally been the exact same, if we hadn't introduced the cousin thing at all. Because the only thing that did is to have that one scene where Buffy freezes on the phone and then she's like, kill my cousin, and it's like, okay, cool. But then that didn't really lead to anything. It led to the fight later, but it didn't feel like a personal fight, you know? Like if she had come in like Inigo Montoya style, like, you kill my cousin, like it would have been great. I never watched The Princess Bride, by the way. I don't know why I came in like a Spanish accent. But the point is that would have been cool to see. It didn't happen. So I feel like the thing about the cousin, which was introduced and resolved within the same episode, it feels like a little bit like wasted runtime a little bit, you know, like we could have used those minutes for something else. Unless, and I'm not saying this is not going to happen, this is something I want to happen actually, is that in the future the cousin thing is going to come back. Either the cousin itself is like a zombie or a ghost or some shit like that, or just the memory in some way is going to be relevant to Buffy, you know? So that would be fun to see. It would be really interesting to see. Yeah, other than that, this is just a Monster of the Week episode again. But I do like how characters refer to what happened last week as if it's something important and big, because it was. After like half the episode, we just completely forgot that was the thing. It just turns into, hey, what's up with this monster though? So that's a little bit like, I don't want to say disappointing, but it's a break. It's a breather. And I kind of was hoping that we wouldn't have this. I mean, if it's any consolation, there's only a couple episodes left in the season, right? Like 19, 20, 1, 2, 4 episodes left, which means, and I know for a fact that the final 2 are going to be important because I can see the title and I know it's a 2-parter. So my question is the next 2, what are they going to be? Are we going to get more Monster of the Week, or are we going to... Maybe we'll have 4 episodes of just non-stop, like, real shit, which would make me very happy, but we'll see how this goes. I mean, I really like the ending. It's cute how Joyce is taking care of, like, all 3 of them, and I'm wondering, like, why that is, and I think it's because they got in so much trouble at the hospital that they're not allowed in there anymore, so then they're all sick at home, and Joyce is taking care of them. Like, I feel like it might be something like that. Regardless, Joyce is just being too nice. I don't know why, but I appreciate it. And then right at the very end, she gets this fucking letter from this kid. I mean, it's funny because it's not even a letter. It's just a drawing. He just mailed a drawing, and it's just Buffy standing over this decapitated, bleeding pool of fucking gore and blood corpse of the fucking monster she killed. And Joyce is like, huh. That's cute. And I'm just like, that would be awesome. That would be an awesome gift to receive. Angel showed up at the very beginning and then showed up again a little bit later. It's the fact that like Angel took a fight head on. He just showed up and they were like, all right, let's fight. And he got scared away by crosses. If I was Angel and if I was like Amy Smart, the moment that they go like, yeah, he's gone. Oh my god, Buffy, are you okay? Like, that's when they lower their crosses, which is like literally 20 seconds later. He could literally just pretend that he's leaving, hide behind a tree, and then when he see that they lower their guard, just show up and just stab one of them. Just instantly kill them. There you go. Like, you can do that. I don't know why he's so afraid of them. But what was very interesting was that later, there was another scene where Sandra's at the hospital, and Angel just shows up with a couple flowers, and he's like, gonna see Buffy. And that's wild to me because we're starting to get this dynamic with Angel where he is, I mean, he's playful. We've seen this before, but he's like, it's not like he shows up and we like fight. It's that he shows up and he talks to them. Like he talked to Sander, he taunted him a little bit, and then he just walked away. And that was something I really like. I want to see more of this. I want to see more of just Angel showing up, just talking with people, just fucking making fun of them and then just leaving. And it is this very interesting dynamic of like, there's the main antagonist who used to be an ally, but he's just the main antagonist now, and he just comes in, he makes fun of the gang, and then he leaves, and we don't have to like fight to the death or anything. He can just show up and like do mental emotional damage and then leave. Like, that's completely fine. And like, it's entirely up to him as to what the fuck he wants to do, because in that situation he probably could have just like attacked or killed Sander or whatever, because what the fuck are the guards gonna do, right? And the vampire soul is out of commission. Like, why didn't he do that? And the answer is, I don't fucking know. The answer is that he probably just wanted to fuck with him and that was it. Like, he derives joy from fucking with people, not necessarily inflicting any real damage, just emotional damage, which I guess is real damage enough. It's just not physical. So that was probably the most interesting aspect of this episode in terms of like things that are going to carry over. Well, something else that I should mention, because this has happened a couple times already, is the fact that Cordelia is jealous of Buffy sometimes. Like Xander stays in the hospital to watch over Buffy, and it's like someone has to. He's not wrong. He should. But then they talk about the fact that like he can still be in love with Buffy, right? He's still doing a lot for Buffy, and he still talks a lot and worries a lot about Buffy. And like in a platonic sense, yes. Like, that's completely fine for him to stay there and to watch over her whenever there's a fucking boss level vampire that just shows up to taunt her or maybe possibly attack her. That's completely fine. That makes sense. But the fact that the show keeps paying attention to it makes me think that we might get a point where, like, actually Xander's, like, feelings of Buffy are just going to resurface, and it's kind of going to screw over the relationship with Cordelia. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but it could, because we've seen that a couple of times already. So I'm wondering if that's something that they're planning to do. I'm not sure, but I should mention it in case it happens. I got the Cordelia line right here. This isn't about being afraid of hospitals because your friend died and you want to conjure up a monster you can fight so you can save everybody and not feel so helpless. Like, that's a writer line. That's not a character line. That's like a comical, like, writer line. That's like a four-wall breaking line that only, like, you can, like, that's a Deadpool line, right? That's like a very, very much self-aware line. I'm not exactly sure if I like it or not. I like Cordelia, I guess, because Cordelia tells the shit the way it is. But at the same time, I'm just sitting here like, that line was like a little bit too much, man. It was like a little bit like, Joss Whedon, is that you? Really? Is that what we're doing today? You're just wearing Cordelia's skin today? Okay. So in the future, I would like to have a couple lines that... So in the future, I would like to get more lines where characters, like, kind of know the things that Cordelia just said, but not just say it like if it's a writer making fun of it. Because that was, like, a little bit too much. Because then it was treated seriously. And I'm just sitting here like, that sounds like a gag line. You have to make fun of it. You can't take it seriously. But anyway, that's it for me. That's it for this episode. I don't know if there's anything else I can say about it. That's going to be it for this episode reaction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Thank you so much for tuning in. And alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you would like to watch the next 2 episode reactions, you can already do so over at the Patreon. Check out the link in the description below, my other social media, Twitch stream, where I've been watching Guilty Gear lore videos if you want to tune into Guilty Gear lore. But yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in. Bye bye, take care.